Namaskar, sir. First of all, welcome to Darjeeling, sir. So, please say something about your visit in Darjeeling, sir.
Now, Tibetans are scattered in more than 27 different countries, and in India alone, we are settled in some 37 locations, both scattered and compact communities. And Darjeeling is one of the scattered communities. And we have been in exile for the last 65 years now, almost 66 years. And we are struggling to go back to Tibet by resolving the Sino-Tibet conflict. And it's one of my responsibilities to keep the Tibetan community intact, wherever they are located. So even though we are physically distant, but mentally we need to be close, because we cannot stop all these social and demographic changes that is happening. So it's very important that we keep our community together, and that is why I have to travel to all the places where Tibetans live in more than 27 different countries.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have to lobby and advocate for the cause of Tibet in different countries.
Yes, sir. In this time, this is 2025. So, what is the status of Free Tibet movement? According to you, is it possible in the near future, or it will take some time, sir?
See, we have to take the reality into the situation. When we came into exile in 1959, till last year, there was not a single country who recognized the independent status of Tibet, historically. Now, we changed our strategy a little bit, because what we follow, the official position is the middle way policy. So when you say middle, then of course there are polarities or ends. So one polarity is the present situation of Tibet under communist China, under the very repressive communist government of China. And then the other polarity is the historical status of Tibet as an independent state. So now we are trying to seek recognition for these polarities so that there is value for middle way. Now, when we say middle way, Madhya Marg, when we say, then we avoid these polarities and then try to find a solution that is based on the current reality, and try to seek a solution where Chinese people and Tibetan people can live together happily, harmoniously. Whether we like it or not, we don't have a mythological Hindu god like Hanuman to lift Tibet out of that place and put it somewhere else. So whenever we get to go back to Tibet, we have to live in peace with China, we have to live in peace with India, Bhutan, Nepal, all these neighboring countries. Because Tibet is very large, it's 2.5 million square kilometers.
Yes,
even boundary with India extends from Jammu Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh and extends into Burma. So we are trying to seek a solution that is mutually beneficial, because we believe in non-violence. So we cannot violently fight the Chinese and win. So we adopt non-violence as a means, and it needs to be resolved by discussion, dialogue with the Chinese. And that should be mutually beneficial. Then only it will be lasting. If you look at Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, whether you are resolving one problem now or you are creating more problem for future, nobody knows. Because so many people's sentiments get hurt. So this is what we are seeking. We are trying to seek a solution which will bring more stability and security for the whole region, not only for Tibet.
Yes,
because Tibet, for one, it's geostrategically very important, also because of its location and also because of the availability of minerals, resources inside Tibet, including water, natural resources, including water. So, yes, we are trying to find a peaceful, negotiated, lasting solution.
Yes, sir. What you said just now, sir, that no country is advocating or supporting the movement. But what about the government of India, sir? What do you think, sir?
Now, see, government of India, I told you, there are variations, of course, in stories, but there were also stories that the first king of Tibet came from India, 2,200 years ago.
Yes.
So our relationship goes back to that time. And the Tibetan script also came from India, from Devanagari script.
Yes.
And then Tibetan Buddhism also came from India. So everything came from India. That's how old our relationship. So when we came into exile also, His Holiness, as His Holiness always says, India is our guru. We are the chela. So we enjoy a good relation and a transparent relationship with the government of India. On humanitarian grounds, I think there's no other country who supports us much more than Indian government.
Yes,
and that is why we remain ever grateful to the government of people, both at the central and state level. That is there. But internationally, United States is the only country that has a law on Tibet.
Yes.
It was adopted way back in 2002, called the Tibet Policy Act of 2002, which has now been amended to Tibet Policy and Support Act by amending that, by including the element of His Holiness reincarnation.
Yes.
Then last year we got this Resolve Tibet Act, which talks about 4 issues, because China keeps saying there is no Tibet problem, Tibet is a socialist paradise. I keep saying people don't burn themselves in paradise. 157 Tibetans self-immolated from 2009 to 2022. So the first part of the law in America says that Tibet is yet an unresolved conflict and it needs to be resolved under international law. The second part says the Tibetan people have the right to self-determination, which is very much in line with the UN General Assembly resolution on Tibet way back in 1961. And the third part, and which is the most important part, is that the United States government does not recognize China's narrative that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times.
Yes.
So this is again with regard to history, because China claims that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times. They are on very thin ice when it comes to history. So then the fourth part defines the territory of Tibet, because China defines Tibet only as Tibet Autonomous Region, which is only half of Tibet, whereas the United States law says all the 3 provinces of Tibet is one entity.
Yes. So in the near future, even the movement became successful and the people return to the free Tibet, but there will be some group of people who doesn't want to return to Tibet and they want to stay back to India. So how do you see this possible situation, sir?
Now see, we are going through a lot of social and demographic change.
Yes.
We are only about 130,000, 40,000 Tibetans in exile.
Yes,
inside Tibet is about 7.3 million. So these changes we cannot stop. And even within India, Tibetans are eligible. Tibetans who came in 1959 and up to 1985, their offsprings, all of us are eligible to apply for Indian citizenship according to the executive order, because India is not a signatory to the UN Convention on Refugees, so it's based on executive orders of the successive governments of India. Tibetans going out, Tibetans who go to Europe, North America, Australia, wherever they went, they become citizens there.
Yes, sir.
And since we have the provision to be able to adopt Indian citizenship also is there. So there are some scattered communities in India who have.
Is there a provision that someone can stay back, even Tibet got free?
No, that is not there. So that is.
So there will be a problem. Those who want to stay back in India.
Those who have Indian citizenship, of course,
they can stay.
They have a choice.
Yes, sir.
Those who have not sought any citizenship, who remained refugees, political refugees, that will be another question.
Yes.
Because the whole idea is about returning back to Tibet. So when Tibet gets independence or freedom or whatever we manage to get, then I believe most of the Tibetans will go back.
Yes, sir. The last question, sir. Do you want to give any message to Darjeeling people or especially Tibetan people from Darjeeling?
Tibetan people, I spoke already for 2-3 hours today, so they already know what we are doing, because they elected me in this position. So now I am accountable to them, I am answerable to them, I am responsible to them through the parliament and also through directly to the people. So that I've been doing. That's why I keep traveling so much. To the people in Darjeeling, before we lost independence, there were only two places where there were some Tibetans, Kalimpong and Darjeeling. There were no Tibetans anywhere else in India. So this is our first connection, Kalimpong, Darjeeling and Tibet. So we enjoy a very deep historical, cultural relationship with the frontier provinces, particularly Kalimpong and Darjeeling. So even the 13th Dalai Lama had been to Darjeeling in 1910 to 12. So it's historically also a very important place for the Tibetans. So there are some misconceptions about Tibet. Last week I was in Arunachal Pradesh, where Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Penpa Tshering was also there as part of the seminar on environment and security. We also discussed about the perceptions on Tibetan refugees, which are very different from other refugees that come from nearby states, or from countries. So that also set the record straight, because there were some perceptions from Arunachal youngsters over the Tibetans. So CM Chief Minister also made it very clear that Tibetan case is very different, and Tibet's freedom is directly connected to India's security.
Yes, sir.
So that particularly the border areas, people know if they care a little bit about what's happening. And if you don't listen to anybody, then you won't understand. But if you try to understand, then you understand that special relationship. So I always advise my people that the Indian government has been so very kind. Indian people have been very kind, and we have to live in harmony with the local population and try to help each other as much as possible.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
आप इधर दार्जिलिंग में किस लिए आए हैं आप बता दीजिए।
वैसे भी हमारे ये पथ का जो है 5 साल का है, और तिब्बती लोग 27 देशों से भी ज़्यादा जगह में फैला हुआ है, और इंडिया में ही 10 स्टेट और 2 यूनियन टेरिटरी में फैला हुआ है। और दार्जिलिंग एक जगह है जहाँ तिब्बती एक जगह में नहीं है, मगर स्कैटर्ड कम्युनिटी जैसा है। तो हमने जब इलेक्शन में खड़ा हुआ तब से मैंने बताया कि 5 साल में एक जगह को 2 बार मैं विज़िट करूँगा। क्यों? इसलिए कि सरकार और लोगों के बीच में रिश्ता अच्छा होना चाहिए। तो मैं दार्जिलिंग दोबारा आ रहा हूँ।
और आप थोड़ा बहुत इंडो और तिब्बत का विषय में थोड़ा बता सकते हैं?
इंडिया और तिब्बत तो हम लोग को शरणार्थी, राजनीतिक शरणार्थी बन के यहाँ आया, और भारत और इंडिया के बीच का रिश्ता जो है वो बहुत पुराना है। 2200 साल पहले ये भी कहा जाता है कि तिब्बत का पहले राजा जो है वो इंडिया से आया है। तो हमारे संबंध वो पुराना है। फिर 7वीं दिशा में 7th सेंचुरी में तिब्बती भाषा जो है, लेख जो है, वो इंडिया से आया, देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट से। और फिर 8वीं सेंचुरी में बुद्धिज़्म जो आया, नालंदा का बुद्धिज़्म जो है वो तिब्बत में, वो भी भारत से आया। तो हमारे कल्चरल, रिलीजियस, लिंग्विस्टिक टाइज सारा भारत के साथ है। अब 1949-50 में कम्युनिस्ट चाइना ने तिब्बत को इन्वेड किया। फिर 51 को हम लोगों को ये 17 पॉइंट एग्रीमेंट जो फोर्स किया, फिर हम लोग उसके नीचे रहने का कोशिश किया 8 साल। फिर चीन ने सब 17 पॉइंट जो है उसको इन्होंने नकार कर दिया, मतलब इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया। तो हमारे तरफ से भी वो अब्रोगेट करके 1959 में रामपुजी जी के साथ 80,000 लोग निर्वासित आना पड़ा। तो हम लोग आज इंडिया में बैठा है, मगर हमारे संघर्ष जो है तिब्बत का और चीन का जो डिस्प्यूट, उसको सुलझाने के लिए संघर्ष जो है वो पिछले 65 ईयर्स से जारी है। और हम लोग अगर 30, 40, 50 साल लगे तो भी भविष्य में उसके लिए हम लोग तैयार हैं।
मनोरञ्जनमूलक भिडियो साथै वरिपरिका खबर हेर्नका निम्ति यस च्यानललाई सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नभुल्नुहोला।